I call upon the woman. Today mother-in-laws can't forgive daughter-in-laws, daughter-in-laws can't forgive mother-in-laws. I'll show her on the day of Qiyamah. Look at the vastness of the quality of kindness in the life of your Nabi. Among the people that the Nabi of Allah said must be killed, one was a person called Habbar bin Aswad. I beg for your undivided attention, brothers. This is an incident that will make you cry. The Nabi of Allah, after he got married to Khadija radiallahu anha, after 5 years of this relation, Allah blesses him with his first daughter, who was called Sayyidatina Zainab radiallahu anha, the eldest daughter of Nabi alayhi salam. Every father understands the sentiment he has towards his eldest daughter. As this girl grew up and she matured, there was a person in Makkah by the name of Abu al-As ibn Rabi. This was prior to the advent of Islam. Khadija radiallahu anha liked this man as a son-in-law. So she asked Nabi alayhi salam, what do you feel? Can we get our daughter Zainab married to Abu al-As? وَكَانَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ لَا يُخَالِفُهَا. Nabi alayhi salam would not go against the desire of Khadija in a hurry. Nabi alayhi salam said, Khadija, if you feel it's a good match for our daughter, I am happy, and we performed the nikah. Hence this marriage took place, and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam got his daughter Zainab radiallahu anha married to this person called Abu al-As ibn Rabi. When Nabi alayhi salam received prophethood and he became the Nabi of Allah, at the advent of Islam, his wife and all his daughters accepted Islam. Of course, his son-in-law did not accept Islam. And the kuffar tried every way to persecute Nabi alayhi salam to such an extent that they came to the son-in-law of Nabi alayhi salam and they told him, Farid sahibatak, you must divorce your wife. How can you have just man's daughter in your nikah? They caused the harm and pain to Nabi alayhi salam on every possible level. They said, divorce this man's daughter. He said, no, I will not divorce my wife. She hasn't done me any harm. As time continued and it became difficult, the Muslims made hijrat. The Muslims migrated from Mecca to Medina, and cutting a long story short, Nabi alayhi salam also made hijrat to Medina Munawwara. The first battle that was fought against the kuffar was the battle of Badr. In the battle of Badr, Abu al-As ibn Rabi, the son-in-law of Nabi alayhi salam, because he had not yet accepted Islam, also joined the ranks of the kuffar. Although he was not so anti-Islam, but because he had not yet accepted Islam, he came with the kuffar. And he was among those that were captured as the prisoners of war. It was then decided amongst the Sahaba with the consent of Nabi alayhi salam that the prisoners can buy their freedom with ransom. And the relatives from Makkah came and paid money, paid dirhams, gave jewelry. The daughter of Nabi alayhi salam, Zainab radiallahu anha, is in Makkah, and she knows that her husband has been captured by the Muslims in Medina. She sends a very valuable necklace of hers, which she received from her late mother Khadija radiallahu anha. And this necklace was brought before Nabi alayhi salam. Riwayat says, brothers, Nabi alayhi salam was sitting with his Sahaba. When that necklace came, he started crying like a baby. رَقَّ لَهَا رِقَّةً شَدِيدًا. And he started cherishing the thoughts of Khadija. And he said, it's just the desperation of my daughter Zainab back in Makkah. He asked the Sahaba, if you allow me, I return this necklace back to my daughter and I release my son-in-law without ransom, subject to your permission, but it's very emotional for me. Sahaba said, oh Nabi of Allah, by all means, if you say we are happy. Nabi alayhi salam called his son-in-law and he says, take this necklace and go and give it back to my daughter. And I'm setting you free. I only have one thing. When you go back to Makkah, send my daughter back. She is a Muslim. Makkah is not conducive for her now. The environment is hostile. Send my daughter back. He goes back and he agrees. And Nabi alayhi salam praised him regarding that. حَدَّثَنِي فَصَدَقَنِي وَوَعَدَنِي فَوَفَى. That he was a very faithful and loyal son-in-law to me. He comes back to Makkah. He tells the daughter of Nabi alayhi salam, that is his wife, look here, your father has, set me free without taking anything. And your father said that you must go back to Makkah. Go to Medina. She got very happy that she can come and join Nabi alayhi salam. He makes adequate preparations. She mounts onto her camel, and Nabi alayhi salam sent two Sahaba, the Zayd ibn Haritha and another Sahabi. He said, disguise your movement, come to a location, try and make some mediation, meet my daughter at this point, and then using an unusual route, bring my daughter back home. When the daughter of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mounts onto her camel, the son-in-law of Nabi alayhi salam could not come, so he sends his brother, Kinana ibn Rabi, and he says, just take my wife on the outskirts of Makkah, and then from there others will take her onwards. As she mounts onto her camel, she is pregnant, she is making hijrat on the Nabi, on the deen of Allah. As she comes to a certain location, these two are the riwayat suggest. Some kuffar think that the daughter of Muhammad is making hijrat, we cannot allow this, let us attack. One kafir by the name of Habbar ibn Aswad comes. Allahu Akbar, he comes and he strikes the daughter of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She falls off her camel. She was pregnant. فَوَقَعَتْ عَلَى صَخْرَةٍ. She falls onto a boulder. As soon as she falls onto that boulder, immediately she miscarries that child who is the grandchild of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she starts bleeding so profusely that her condition is not stable. She cannot resume the journey. And this kafir and others are sitting and they enjoying what has happened. She then returned to Makkah. Her condition is stabilized, and after a few days she comes back to Makkah. She comes to Medina. But of course her condition and her health was not too good. The incident is very long, brothers. She then comes to Medina, and in due time then her husband also comes to Medina, and he accepts Islam. When he comes to Makkah, when he comes to Medina, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam is very happy, and Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, performs the nikah between them two again, and they live happily and merrily. In Medina, the 8th year of Hijrah, Sayyidatuna Zainab radiallahu anha dies out of that same wound that she sustained in the journey of Hijrah, which the Nabi of Allah said, Khairu banati usibat fiya. This is my best daughter, she suffered the most for me. She comes to Medina and she stays there, and because of this wound, she passes away. Sahaba used to refer to her as a martyr because of the difficulty she experienced in Hijrah. And one other point I must mention, while she was being lowered into her grave, Nabi alayhi salam was so sad, he stood by the side, he told Salma to give ghusl, and when the ghusl was over, he took out his own Mubarak cloth, and he says, now put this on the body of my daughter. And then when he went into his qabr, Sahaba say he was so sad, we didn't have the courage to look at him, never mind ask. He lowered his own daughter with his hands, and when he came out of the qabr, somehow his face was radiant, and it was bright. We said, O Nabi of Allah, what is the matter? What is the matter, O Nabi of Allah? Nabi alayhi salam said, as I was going into the grave, I looked at the darkness of the grave and the loneliness of the grave, and I thought of the weakness of my Zainab. I was really worried about my daughter. What is going to happen to my daughter in the qabr? I made dua to Allah, Allah, what's going to happen to my daughter? Make it easy for my daughter. And the angels have descended to confirm my daughter will be exempted from hisab. As a token of joy that my Allah has accepted and exempted my daughter from the severity of the grave, my face is radiating. Brothers, in a nutshell, at the conquest of Makkah, my Nabi said, kill the man who assassinated my daughter, Habbar ibn Aswad. But this man also comes running before Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. The man who put a spear through the body of Zainab, who caused the grandchild of Nabi alayhi salam to die. He comes, Sahaba say, O Nabi of Allah, here is Habbar. They withdrew their swords. Nabi alayhi salam says, wait, give the man a chance. They talk of presidential pardon. I swear by Allah, neither the skies nor the earth has seen a more forgiving human than Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who can shelter the murderer of his own daughter. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam says, what do you want to have to say? Say. He says, O Nabi of Allah, I know I have done this thing to you and I've hurt you. And I was going to flee from here, but then I heard you're a very kind man, and you're a very forgiving man. You're a very merciful man, and hence I have come. I have one thing to ask you, and that is forgive me for the wrong that I have done to your daughter. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam sighs. Brothers, can we imagine? I don't have time to elaborate. Can we translate the sentiments of Nabi alayhi salam in any possible language? Nabi alayhi salam sighs and he says, I have also forgiven him, and my Sahaba, you also forgive him. Brothers, this was the kindness and the forgiveness of Nabi alayhi salam. His uncle, who was assassinated in the battle of Uhud, Nabi alayhi salam cried at this occasion so much, riwayat suggests he never cried in his life. He made the janazah namaz of Hamza 72 times. And you know what? When his body was mutilated, he said, if it wasn't for the fear of my auntie Safiya, I would have left the body of my uncle Hamza on the floor. And he was the foster brother of Nabi alayhi salam. They both drank the milk of a nursing mother called Tuwaiba. Nabi alayhi salam said, if it wasn't for the sentiments of my auntie, I would have left the body of Hamza on the floor so that the vultures should come and eat on his body, and that he can stand up and be resurrected from the stomachs of the vultures on the day of Qiyamah, to add to the helplessness of his situation on the day of Qiyamah. The man who assassinated him at the conquest of Makkah, Nabi alayhi salam said, kill this man. But even this man knew that the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is such a forgiving Nabi. He comes before Nabi alayhi salam and he sits there. Nabi, the riwayat of Bukhari, he asked Nabi alayhi salam, O Nabi Allah, forgive me. 8 years is left, but the grief is fresh. Nabi alayhi salam says, you are Wahshi? He says, yes, I am Wahshi. Anta qatalta Hamza? You killed my uncle Hamza? He looked down, he says, yes, I killed. Nabi alayhi salam says, how did you kill my uncle? Tell me. He says, I don't have the courage to tell you. Nabi alayhi salam says, okay, I forgive you, but do me one favor, don't show me your face. Every time I see your face, it revives the thoughts of the murder of my uncle. فَإِنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ أَن تُغَيِّبَ وَجْهَكَ عَنِّي. If you can just avoid your appearance, it will make it easy. But I have forgiven you also. Brothers, there are so many ahadith. I take this opportunity to ask every brother, let us leave the gathering by forgiving. Let us clean our hearts. How long will we keep malice, jealousy, grudge, Let us then relate to the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who could shelter the murderer of his daughter, who could shelter the person who assassinated his uncle. In one hadith, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam says that that person who will forgive his brother for the pleasure of Allah, he will enjoy the greatest abode in Jannah. As I mentioned, this is just but one quality. May Allah Ta'ala inspire us with the beautiful akhlaq of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that we can also learn to forgive our partners. One Nabi complained to Allah, my wife has very evil character. Allah said that this is the share that I have put of difficulty in your way, that you endure and you forgive. Allah speaks about forgiving in the Quran. Overlook in a good way, forgive in a good way. We know about a beautiful house and a beautiful car. Allah speaks about beautiful forgiveness. That is forgiveness in such a way that you don't make reference or you don't grudge in the heart. Allah inspire us all.
Mm-hmm.